Well, I have to say, I really enjoyed this Netflix series, Pact of Silence. I thought that the cast was acceptable. Their dress, costume was acceptable. Um, the setting of the story. I'm sure that movie critics would be more critical, but I enjoyed the storyline. It was something different for a change. Thirsty for revenge, Brenda, a popular social media influencer, is abandoned as a baby. And she's told by Carmen that her teenage mother and her friends left her to die. And she even makes a makeshift grave of Lucy. And so she grows up thinking that she was abandoned and that her family didn't care for her. Unfortunately, Carmen dies, her second mother, and she ends up on the street, an orphan, living, stealing, begging, and living on the streets. She works and pulls herself up by her own bootstraps and becomes fairly wealthy or well to do as a social media influence, Brenda Ray. She comes up with a plan to get revenge against the four women. She finds out who the head mistress of the boarding school, who they were, and then she is able to find pictures. She breaks into different things. Now, I got to say, Brenda Ray is not smart. She needs to watch the other Netflix series um, about the guy that's a thief, and he uses many disguises because Brenda Ray never disguises herself. And if you're going to have a plan for revenge, you never use or stay in your real home. You always change locations, you stay in hotels, you use cash so people cannot trace you or try to find you. And she almost had someone to find her, and they almost killed her. They messed with the gas line and they almost killed her if it hadn't been for the deranged gardener's brother, who happens to see his brother rape Martina, one of the girls, as a young teen. And because he raped her and assaulted her, they threw him, or he fell off the bridge, and they buried him. And for 25 years, Pedro's family doesn't know if he's dead or alive or where his remains are. And they keep this pact of silence about not only the baby that they abandoned, but also the death of the gardener, who was a rapist, a drunk, and a child molester. They keep all of this a secret. So you have Irene, who is a congresswoman, married to a sociopath, has a sociopath for a son. Then you have Sophia, who is up to her eyeballs in debt and still sleeping with her teacher from grade school. She's still allowing this child molester to sleep with her until she finally gets sense enough to break away from her abuser. And she's dysfunctional and doesn't love her husband. And then when he leaves her finally, it's too late that the marriage is already over, and she almost loses her daughter. Then you have Fernanda. She's dysfunctional. She's a horrible mother and a drunk, and she's out of touch with her son, Tomas, who's a drug addict, and then she has a daughter who can't identify with her gender or what she wants to be. And they end up throwing a party for her, and she goes up on the roof and takes her gown and sets it on fire and lets it fall down to the ground and tells her mama, if you want to wear the gown, you put it on. And then, of course, you have Martine, and she is dealing with the impact of rape. But then she ends up falling in love with someone named Omar, who was sent there by Brenda, which I thought that was cruel of Brenda to do that. I really feel like she should have just talked to them and got their side of the story. But if you're going to do revenge, folks, you don't let people find out who you are. You do it like in a matter of cloak and dagger. You never reveal who you are. And you always change locations and places. But overall, great movie. I don't want to tell every detail because I don't want to spoil it. Great Netflix series. Enjoyed it. We'll watch it again. Who do you think her mother is? I'm not going to tell it. I started to tell it, but I'm not. Pact of silence. Do you think they did the right thing? And then it's going to be kind of tragic when one of her friends is murdered. I'm not going to leave that out.